Hello everyone! Today we're making ciabatta the easiest and quickest way that I know how. This recipe doesn't use the traditional pre-fermenting process, which will definitely add more depth and flavor to your dough, but trust me, this recipe is really good and you'll get a delicious, crusty, and airy ciabatta-like bread in a fraction of the time. This dough is not as wet and sticky as a traditional recipe, so it's much easier to work with, which makes it perfect for beginners or when you're short on time. But you will still get all the bubbles you want in a ciabatta just in a fraction of the time. Let's start with 270 milliliter of water, which is the same as 270 grams in weight. That's true only for water, where 1 milliliter is equal to 1 gram, but other ingredients have different densities, so you have to weigh them. A food scale is very cheap, and you don't need a fancy one. I got this scale from Amazon, and I've been using it for probably around 10 years without a problem. And for under $20, it's really worth it. Here's another one I bought, and I keep it as a backup spare, or sometimes when I'm multitasking, it's under $10, would you believe? And it's just as accurate. So that's 270 grams or ml of water, and make sure the water is lukewarm, like a baby's bottle, just warm to the touch. If you're using a thermometer that's between 105 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit, or 40 to 43 degrees Celsius. I don't use a thermometer, I just feel it and err on the side of less warm, since too hot will kill the yeast, whereas if it's a tad on the cool side, it'll just take longer for the yeast to do its thing. Next, I add 1 3/4 teaspoon of dry active yeast. That's 5 grams of yeast, which is a little more than you would typically use if you were doing a pre-ferment, but we're skipping that stage. So this is going to need 5 grams of yeast, and then a teaspoon of sugar, that's 4 grams. Give this a little mix, and then if you're not sure how fresh your yeast is, you can wait for it to bloom, and that could take around 5 minutes or so, depending on the temperature of the water and the quality of your yeast. So let's wait and see. And there you go. You can see the beautiful blooming going on, telling you the yeast has woken up and it's doing its thing. So now it's time to add the flour, 400 grams of flour, and I just dump that on top of the yeast mixture. And then add 1 teaspoon of salt, or about 4 grams. You can go up to 8 grams if you like things saltier. The first time you make this recipe, just follow my measurements, and then you can tweak it the next time to make it more personalized to your taste. You can mix this all together with either a dough hook or a spatula, or my personal favorite, the handle of a wooden spoon. Mix and mix until the dough comes together as a sort of shaggy mess, but with all the flour incorporated into the water and yeast mixture. This is not as high a hydration formula as the recipe that uses a Biga, a pre-ferment, as I said. This is quick and easy, and so the dough is not as wet a dough, and you can even work the dough at this point with your hands, something very hard to do with the traditional ciabatta recipe, which is a much wetter and stickier dough, which is why this recipe is perfect for beginners. Okay, let's cover this up and let everything come together by letting the water hydrate the flour and also letting the yeast continue to do its thing. It's called the autolyse stage and takes about 2 hours for the dough to rest. Here we are 2 hours later, and you can see how nicely the dough has expanded, and if you look closely you can see some nice airy bubbles inside. Now we want to do a couple of stretch and folds to strengthen the gluten network and build some structure to the dough so that it can hold those holes. We want to do this with a wet hand so the dough doesn't stick to your fingers, and we want to do this gently so as not to deflate any of those beautiful bubbles. It's an easy process. Just pick one end of the dough up, stretch and fold it over to the other side. Rotate the bowl and do it again and again. I like to do a series of 8 stretch and folds, rotating the bowl about 90 degrees each time. Once this is done, I cover the bowl up and let the dough rest for 30 minutes. Okay, here we are after letting the dough rest for 30 minutes, and now I'm going to do a second set of 8 stretch and folds. Again, I'm going to wet my hand so that it's easier to handle the dough. Do the same stretch and folds, and you'll notice this time the dough feels like it has more structure to it. There, that's done. And now cover the bowl and let the dough rest again for around 20 minutes. Don't forget to cover the dough when it's resting. That's very important so it doesn't get dried out on top and develop a skin. Okay, it's been 20 minutes and now it's time to shape the dough. Make sure to flour your board really well and then turn the dough out on the board. Just turn your bowl upside down and it should plop right out onto the floured board. Don't worry about using too much flour. It's only going on the outside of the dough. None of this flour is going to get incorporated into the dough, so it doesn't matter how much flour is on the outside, and this will keep the dough from sticking to everything. So be liberal with the flour. And now it's time to shape it. You can shape this into 2 long loaves, or 1 loaf and 3 or 4 buns, or just 6 buns, however you want to shape this dough. Just make sure to handle it as gently as you can. You don't want to bust any of those beautiful bubbles, so gently coax this into a rectangle shape. You can see all those bubbles. Those are going to be air pockets, so we want to work as gently as possible. Again, don't worry about the amount of flour used all around the dough. Notice that none of it is getting kneaded or folded into it. It's all staying on the outside, so it doesn't matter how much there is. You can always brush it off later. Once I get this into a nice rectangular shape, I cut the dough down the middle, so half will be a loaf shape, and then the other half I'm going to shape into buns, so cut them. Usually I cut a bigger loaf and then I get 3 buns out of the other half. This time I seem to have cut a smaller loaf, so now I have 4 buns. And now these are going onto a tray lined with parchment paper, and you can see all the bubbles. Nice. Now I'm going to preheat my oven to 470 degrees. That's around 243 degrees Celsius. And my oven takes around 15 minutes to get there. So in the meantime, I'm going to cover up the tray with another inverted tray and let the dough rest some more. But not too long, around 15 minutes is perfect. Too long is no good, then the dough will overproof and go poof. So 15 minutes, and now the oven has reached 470 degrees and it's ready for the dough. But wait, we want to create a steamy environment in the oven, sort of like when you bake bread in a Dutch oven and you keep the lid on to trap the moisture. So we want some moisture in the oven to get the dough off to a nice start. I have a cast iron pan in the oven. It's actually the lid from my Dutch oven. And I pour boiling water into it to get the steam going in the oven. And then into the oven goes my beautiful bubbly dough. 20 minutes later, I have some golden crusty bread. And look at how nice and puffy they look. Gorgeous. Knock on them and they should sound hollow. That's how you know they're done. Now I'm going to have them sit on this rack and cool for a bit and then come back and slice one open for you to see. Okay, these have been cooling for about 20 minutes and the house smells really good. So let's have a look inside and look at that. How beautiful is that? Bon appetit and thanks for watching. Bye.